Let's go. It is January 23rd, 2024, and this is episode 20 of the LA Poker Roundup. Welcome back, and thank you for watching, everybody. As always, here I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my co-host, Derek Kwan.
What is up, everyone?
And guys, I was checking out the channel stats earlier, and we are 3 people away from getting to our number 200 subscribers. So please, if you're watching and you see this and you have not hit the subscribe button, please go on down there, hit that subscribe button, hit the notify. It means a lot to us. We really appreciate your support. And we've got a great show for you this week. Yep. So we will be starting out.
Get some subscribers.
We will be starting out with the results from the second week at the LAPC.
We'll also be going over some of our own results. So Ty and I will talk about our experiences playing in the LAPC over the weekend.
Yeah. I'll save you from the talk of me recovering from my sickness, but I was able to recover enough to get out there and hit the tables. After that, we're gonna cover a couple news stories and some new rumors from around the area, the industry. In particular, a little update on our pal Gal, last seen on
Yifrach, yeah.
Yep, last seen on HCL over a year ago. And, we have a little PSA about casino safety, which is an unfortunate news story that we seem to see every year.
And then we're going to give a quick update on the whole ACR bot situation that's been going on for over a month now.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to joke about and laugh about after that's done, but it's been pretty funny. And then you know what? It's that time of year again. It is the time of the GPI Awards. So we have the list of the nominees, and we are going to go through and pick our winners.
And it's been believed that LA is the number 2 spot for poker behind Vegas, but is that really true anymore? And are we kind of losing our spot as the number 2 poker destination in America?
Man, I hope not. I really don't want to have to move again. And then, as always, we'll finish up with the weekly roundup. So let's just jump right in. We have a lot of results from the second week of the LAPC here. So from the first week, we only had 2 events, the kickoff event and then the first one day. But this week, we had events every single day. They had dailies. They had $250 dailies. They had mixed games. We've got all sorts of stuff to jump into. So let's take a look. The event number 4, I believe, the $600 Omaha 8 tournament was won by Albert Shim. So congratulations, Albert. It looks like there was a chop at the top 3 with Christopher Lee and Walter Smiley as well in there.
Nice job, Mr. Shim. 7K, not bad for Omaha 8.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people turn up for these mixed events. Yeah,
63 people. I'm kind of surprised. I kind of was expecting to see Ari Engel around, or someone. I know Kessler came up last series to play a couple of the mixed events. I'm surprised these guys aren't getting tempted in. There must be some other good mixed events happening around.
Yeah, and let's touch base on that too, because it feels like LAPC tends to be that mixed player like magnet. So some of these mixed players not showing up. Let's talk about that during the is LA still the number 2 poker destination stop anymore, right?
Yeah, because I do remember Kessler did stop by before. So what's going on now? Let's definitely talk about that as well. So then event number 5 here, the $250 daily. I believe this was like the second one they ran. Winner Alfredo Pacheco.
Yeah.
Pacheco.
Very, very good player.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, I definitely recognize Alfredo. So congrats. It looks like maybe they did a chop top 4, perhaps. So at the top 4 of this one was Alfredo, and then Carl Morris, if that's the Carl I'm thinking of. I've definitely chopped up or finished the top of a couple with that fella. Rodolfo Olmos and David Nunez rounding out the top 4 there.
Nice. Good job, folks.
Way to go. So then we have another mixed game, Omaha 8 Stud 8 mix. This one had 71 entries, so more than the previous. This is a $500 buy-in. And the winner of this one was Frank Inglese. I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry, guys. This looks like they chopped that up top 3. A couple other very familiar names up there in the chop. So after Frank, number 2 was Sean Yu, and then Dominique Alvarado. Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Sean near the top or in these cash lists of a lot more of these mixed games. He's a beast in these mixed games.
Yes, he is.
All right, so the other daily won by Rafael Hagopjanian. Another familiar face. Definitely see this guy playing all the times. Congratulations. I'm not sure if it's his first Remington or what, but way to go. There's 155 entries here. Well, I'm not sure if it was or not. 155 entries. Nice job.
I feel like I don't recognize this person, although he
Oh,
looks
really?
like he would be recognizable. So
Yeah,
interesting.
I've seen him I've seen him around quite a bit.
Hmm.
So
Well,
it
good work, Mr. Raphael.
appears to me I don't know if there was a chop. Those payouts look pretty smooth. So whether there was or not, well, probably the top two are pretty close together. So maybe the top two's chopped or something. But chop or not, congrats to everyone at the final table here in the top couple. So after Raphael, number 2 was Ryan Salunga. It's a name I believe we recognize. Number 3, Robert Rothstein. Number 4, Daniel Ashbury. Number 5, Mark Maselli. And yeah, there are 155 people in that with a $31,000 prize pool, and these are guaranteed to, I believe, 20,000. So smashing these guarantees, way to go. The next mixed game we had last week was the $500 toe. That was triple draw Omaha 8, I believe, and then 8s are better stud, I think. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what it was. They were all low games, I know that. Champion was David Baker. This event brought out only 48 players, but, way to go, David Baker. And
David Baker is a well-known pro, so
okay.
Some of the pros seems like they're getting out here, and obviously Mr. James Woods there at number 3. So yeah, it looks like maybe as we go along, more and more of these mixed game players are going to show up. Also in chat, we have Stone Malik telling us that Ryan Salunga is a baller in daily. So looks like we got a daily pro in our midst.
Absolutely. No, that's a name I definitely know that name. I just can't quite put the face on him. And then number 2 in this toe event was Michael Politiski. So
Politiski.
Yeah. So congratulations to everyone in that one. The next daily, we had 138 players in this guy. Champion was Vinay Avanesian. So congratulations to Vinay. Looks like they chopped it top 7 based on these payouts. So congrats to Vinay, Michael Ibarra, Oleg Bakov, Clement Ribaud, Kim Sung-do, and Ronaldo Taksun. And
they're really challenging you today, Ty, with the names. This is a rough one. Look at that top 6.
Hongxin Lee. All right. So congrats to all of you who chopped this guy up. All right. Next, the $500 horse. This had 97 entries, so now we're talking. This is a popular one. 97 entries on the $500 horse tournament, and the winner was Lori Broda. So congratulations. And in fact, nice to highlight our ladies in poker. The number 2 was Shirley Rosario. So number 1 and 2.
What a stacked table.
Oh,
Shirley Rosario, Frankie Odell, Adam
Frankie
Kipnis. I mean, these are just absolute crushers. And probably, you know what? I don't recognize all these mixed game players. So, but I bet you a bunch of them are also pretty good. But that is a stacked final table
for sure. I believe last year Frankie won like 4 or 5 Remingtons in mixed games and whatnot, if I recall. Yeah. So way to go! Like definitely a stacked
Shirley final table is like every single one that she plays in. It seems like Adam.
Game, for sure.
And Adam's also a big good friend of mine and a big crusher in those mixed games as well.
Yeah, and rounding out the top 4 was Joseph Hoffman. So congratulations to all of you. All right, moving on to the big multi-day. So the XL stack from last week. The champion was Rudy Cervantes. I was in the room that day. They played it all the way to the end. There was no chop. So this XL stack ended up having 879 entries total. It was
nice.
It was a 150K guarantee, and they almost doubled it to 281,000. So way to go there. And first prize, Rudy took home 50 grand. Way to go! Rounding out the top of that was Farzin Akhtar, Lin Long, and Kenton Moore. And also, congrats to our man Frank Lin, getting 9th place in that guy.
Good job, Frank. Nice job.
Oh, and
sorry about your bust out hand. We did some analysis on his bust out hand. Sorry that sort of happened to you, buddy.
Stone says somebody we just mentioned final table the Gardens last year.
Oh, that was Ryan Saluga. Oh, wow.
There we go. Yep. No, I definitely know that name for sure. And I'm noticing down here Alfredo Pacheco's name down here. So he also did well in the XL. So way to go on that one. He's having a good week. And
there's Ryan Salunga. There's Ryan Salunga, number 21. There he is.
Yeah. So absolute crushers. Way to go. So excellent. Then we have here the one day that was happening that same day. The champion was Thomas Knight. Very cool guy. I played with him. I played in this event. I played with him for several hours. Seemed like a really cool guy. And if I overheard him correctly, he hadn't been playing much poker or tournaments in a while. So it was kind of a comeback event.
Hmm,
So hopefully we see him around the scene quite a bit more. So congratulations to
nice.
Thomas. It looks like there was no
Nice
chop
shot,
here
Thomas.
either, because I know that was the first prize amount. So it looks like there was no chop here as well. So great. Number two is Alvin Ambrosio. Three, Jay Kaneshiro. Four, Robert Belke. Um, we have some other notable and common names we're used to seeing up here. We got old Phuoc Nguyen down here on seven. We got Daniel Higginson at eight. One day crusher. He's the guy who has five or six of the hoodies from the bike from Final Tabling so much when they're giving those away. And
I don't even have one of those hoodies. It's very disappointing.
yeah, and then down here we have Mark Spitaleri, Gardens Reg. He actually got fourth place at the tournament I won last year, so I played with him quite a bit, and then I got 14th, so we went out right next to each other
Oh,
there.
there you are, number
Yep,
14.
yep.
Just missed the final table.
Just missed it. I'm pretty bummed about it. I'll talk about that in a minute once I get through all these names and can finally relax my mouth here. So there was also another one day that happened that day, the 250 in the evening. So the 250 kind of turbo happening that evening was won by Richard Spandikow. Their prize pool got up to 20,000 here, 100 entries. So congratulations,
Nice.
Richard. Also, second place, Marcelo Paris. Third place, Simon Turobiner, and then Vincent Vidal. Rounding out the top eight here, number ninth was another super reg, Stefan Bean. And
Yeah, good job,
yep.
Stefan.
So lots of people's, we're getting close. A lot of notable names seeing, getting close, and a lot of new faces getting those trophies. Love
Man,
to see it.
everyone's just shipping them Remingtons. I still don't have one of these.
Yeah,
It's very, very irritating.
just if you get one, make sure you post a picture and tag Derek. He has so much FOMO. He has so much jealousy. So then on Monday we had ourselves a. Oh, I'm sorry, on Sunday. So this was the one you played in, right? This 300 no limit hold'em bounty
I
event.
I don't want to talk about it.
We'll make him talk about it. But congratulations to Mark Kono. He got first place in this thing. Number two was Forrest Bustos Zamora. Three, Artur Varabian. Four, Augustin Lopez. Let's see. Rounding out the top eight here, we've got in seventh, we got Tony Wynn. Thuy Wynn.
Tony Wynn.
Yep. There's a Jeremiah Smith in
Tony,
eighth,
you know
but that
what?
can't be right.
You know what, Tony? This effing guy. This guy like walks around the casino, acting like he's not good at poker or something, right? He's like, "Hey, Derek, can you show me how to use GTO Wizard?" Every time you and I read results, this dude is always on the sheets.
Oh,
Effing Tony is
absolutely.
always on the sheets, right?
Tony's OG for sure.
Yeah, man. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, you just I feel like you cash in everything. And then like on top of that, like during this event, I ran into Beth Hall, coming back from break,
Hmm.
and Beth Hall was like, "Hey, you and Ty should talk about me as the worst player in Los Angeles." And I kind of looked at her and I was like, "Are you having a bad day?" Right? And she was like, I fired 3 bullets. Only got like one bounty, and I was like, "Hey, how about 5 bullets and no bounties, Beth? How about that?"
It's like, geez, way to make me feel bad, Beth.
But obviously, Beth and Tony are both really, really good players, and I'm sure that I think this isn't just poker, right? It happens everywhere. Whether you're working in technology, you're in gaming, you're in poker. Some of the very, very best people at the thing that they do are constantly doubting themselves. They're constantly
Absolutely.
thinking they're not as good as they think they are. And I even made a completely unrelated tweet about imposter syndrome yesterday, but this is like I think there's a lot of imposter syndrome within the poker community where good players like Tony and Beth are kind of walking around thinking, oh man, I'm such a bad player, but you're clearly not. I think Beth can just like keep doing what she did last year for another 3 years and continue to crush and still be asking, am I a bad player? Like after 3 years, I'd be like, what do you think about that, Ty?
Yeah,
What do you
well,
think about the imposter syndrome?
I think that especially here in LA, right? I think that imposter syndrome is incredibly prevalent in just the general population. I mean, this is a city full of writers and actors and artists, right?
Yeah.
So not only is it just a regular thing for people in general, but like here especially, whew, it's like everyone who's susceptible to it, and in industries where it's even harder because, like poker, a lot of these industries, it's hard to gauge how good you are because success doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily come to those who are the best, and it doesn't come consistently even when you are the best necessarily. So it's really easy to fall prey to that kind of thing. The only ways to combat it, right, are a really great support system and some kind of other measure of success other than monetary success, right? So
Mhm.
I think that a little bit of that is necessary to continue to motivate yourself to get better, to be better, right? Like, if you go too far with it and you end up with like a Phil Hellmuth kind of manifestation of imposter syndrome, you may stop studying. But if you have just the right amount of it, hopefully it lights a fire and keeps you studying, right? Maybe Tony's kind of tongue in cheek and he's really going to get in there and start hitting the GTO wizard to kind of modernize some of the edges of his game, right? But
He was legitimately asking for help, and I think everyone needs to ask for help. So I'm just obviously like joking about Tony,
oh
joking
yeah,
about
yeah.
Beth, but like the imposter syndrome is nuts. We have Xander in chat too, saying
Yep.
he can relate to that, especially during
Oh,
downswings.
absolutely.
He Yeah, he tweeted me about downswing, and I was like, Xander, didn't you just like cash the same tournaments that I just cashed in, like just this month, right? Haven't you cashed already in like 10 different tournaments in January? But he's saying like, he kind of got stuck by firing so many bullets at that Gardens
Oh
main. So
yeah.
we totally feel you about like too many bullets. But Xander's another player where I think you just said basically on the like we'll talk about this in the results when he kind of bagged pretty big on a day with some really tough players for this bounty multiplier that's going on. He also ended up doing really well in the Gardens main with me and Ryan Tosak on his left almost the entire latter half of that day one. So man, like you stand up to a lot of the good players all the time, and I think you come out fine.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's so hard in poker because results, like, there can only be one winner, and we all tend to feel like we didn't win when we don't get first. And if
Yep.
you just, it's so easy to just use the money and to just use that as your gauge of success, that no matter how well you did, how well you played, if you don't win a ton of money, you just feel like a loser a lot of times. And that's just not the case because it's so hard to be objective and realize how well you played, whether it's for you or it's objectively or it's whatever, when we all are just kind of emotionally feeling the pain of busting or losing or being in the red or whatever, right? So it's
Yep.
absolutely one of the biggest things you have to battle as a player, especially tournament poker. I actually sent Xander. I think it was him. So many of my friends are starting the year off on kind of a downswing. I feel like I've been having these conversations about like, oh man, I'm just losing so much. And to be fair, I'm starting the year down. It's hard to start a year up. What are you gonna do? Just start winning on day one and just like never stop winning? Um, but like the tournament variance calculators that they have online, like those are important. It's just tournament poker is not an endeavor where we just win and win and win and win. It's just not. It's just not how it works. So you really, really need to be able to take that kind of perspective and find other ways to realize when you need to take a break or when you're doing well or when you can just stay the course, right? Because
Yep.
most days you could play perfect and you're still not going to win. So
But one other benefit of the self-doubt though is that all of these people never stop working.
right,
They never stop trying, they never stop improving because they always have something to prove. And this is why you guys are the best, right? You guys and you
exactly.
girls, this is why you're the best. It's because of that self-doubt. So don't ever lose that. Don't let it like bury you and cripple you and making you think that you're worse than you actually are. But be confident in yourselves, but never stop working at your games. Let the hunger always just be there for you.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I really feel like that just that little healthy amount of it is what you really need. And I don't even know if it's
Yeah.
imposter syndrome, I would call it, if it's a healthy amount, but so much as just the humility to know that there are better people. You can have made it, but there's still better people. And
Yep.
not that that makes you feel worse about yourself, but that means that should just inspire you to know that you can still get better, right? So
Yep. Yep.
absolutely. Here, let's just finish off. There are two more events to go over the winners for here. One more, I believe this was Monday's mixed game, $500 PLO. So we had 84 entries on this guy. So congratulations, Rupesh Patni. He took
Yeah.
the first
Rupesh has
place. It looks
been
like
around for a long time.
looks
Yeah.
like the top two chopped it up. So congratulations to Rupesh and Iman Latifi. So way to go. They definitely look like they chopped up the top two spots. So congrats. And then we had one more daily on Monday as well. So that had 173 entries. That's pretty good for I think a noon starting weekday daily. Prize pool of
Wow.
34,000. So way to go! Congratulations to Sean Motamani from Redwood here. He got 7,000 for that. And
Wow, 7K.
yeah,
That's nice for a 250 one day. Huh?
yep, 250 one day. So congrats to Sean Motamani. Rounding out the top of this tournament was Eric Banzone, Arthur Barboza, Brian Columbia. So congrats. Let's see if we noticed any other names real quick. Not really. Oh, Igor. I see Igor in there. He's a mega reg grinder. So congrats for cashing that one, Igor. 18 away from that Remington. So, I was telling people maybe play these dailies if you want to get a Remington, but maybe it's not that great advice. 173 people's a lot. Maybe you should just play the afternoon dailies on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So that gets us through the results from last week. So really active series, a lot of action down at Commerce.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Love to see all the people coming out. Love to see the trophies being handed out. All right. So we actually had kind of a light weekend as far as we go, as far as playing, right? I was sick until, I was really sick until Friday. And on Friday, I combination of I still didn't want to risk infecting anybody else. And, just wanted to kind of catch up on some work from being sick all week. So I ended up not playing the XL stack at all. So I was really disappointed about that. And first day I was able to get in there was Saturday. So I went in on Saturday, and in a very uncharacteristic move, I cashed on a single bullet in the one day. So
wow,
yeah,
nice
right.
job.
Way to go, me. It must have been saving my luck up all week. We should try this more often.
Maybe the sickness was wearing you down a little bit, so you just played more conservatively.
Oh, I tell you, that's not the case at all. So let me tell you about the very first hand I played. Very first hand I played on the button, I'm thinking, okay, this is a one day. I should play conservative. They're all gonna call. It's I just throwing my money away to just like bloat these pots, whatever. I'm on the button. I'm like, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play tight. It's fine. It's like 5 limps. I'm like, like my hand's shaking. I'm like, there's 5 limps. I can't help it. And I think the blinds are 200, 300. So I just like make it 2,000. I think they all called. If not all of them called, then like 4 people called, if not 5. I've got like Jack 8 offsuit. Flop is 4-5 queen. They all check to me. I make a little bet. What I bet? I bet like 2,500. I think. They all called. Not like I'm going to the turn 4 ways in this pot where we limped, and the pot's now like 15,000. It's like, or more maybe. Let's see, like 8,000 plus they all calling against. Yeah, it's probably like 17,000 on the first hand. I'm like, I love it. This is what I love. But at the same time, I'm like, why didn't I listen to myself? They're all gonna call. I knew it was gonna be like this. What did I do? So the turn is a 7. So it's 4-5-7 queen. I think there's a flush draw. I've got Jack 8. I'm like, they all checked at me. All right, I check. 6 on the river. Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
So I go runner straight to the 8. They check to me again. I just bet like 15 grand. I get 2 calls. 2 calls. And the third guy, he had turned the straight with 6-3, and he managed to find the fold.
Oh my gosh.
He called with 6. He limped with 6-3 offsuit. Hit it on the turn, checked it to me, gets counterfeited. I bomb the river, and he manages to find the fold. But I don't know what the other 2 guys had, but I picked up a big one, which is very good because I probably would have bought in 4 or 5 or 6 times if that hadn't happened, because that got me up to, what did we start with, 30,000 chips, I think? So that got me up to like 60, and in the first 3, I think 4 levels of 4 breaks. So in the first 4 levels, I think I went between 20K and 100K 3 times. So yeah, I wasn't really playing like quiet
with these like daily events, but even like early on in the big like 2-day events, especially the ones that are below like a $500 buy-in, you get plays like this like everywhere. It's kind of crazy. And for people who are listening who aren't playing this, like get out there and play, because there's so much value in this. Obviously though, you have to survive that variance, like Ty is saying, vacillating between 20K and 100K like 3 or 4 times is not fun.
It was super fun, but it's pretty stressful.
But you have to weather the storm of these players for sure.
Yeah, and by those players he means me. So when you get there, don't do what I did. I was just lighting 20 grand on fire there until I got lucky on the river. But yeah, even if you're not me, they're still gonna call. Like everyone wants to gamble in the beginning of these things, so let's go.
It's crazy, man. You got people. Yeah.
But I did end up going very deep in that. As we touched on in the results, I got 14th. When we were getting kind of later in the thing, I was pretty stacked up for almost the entirety of the tournament. Once we got past the money, I started getting closer to average, but I was still around average all the way up until there were about, 2 tables left there. And then I'm pretty bummed at the way I went out in that I was playing, I was playing pretty well. I was starting to get a bit tired because I had been sick all week probably. Sleep wasn't the best, but the big mistake that I ended up making was I get to we're at the final 2 tables, and these guys are playing incredibly tight, and yet it's that weird distribution where they're playing really tight. They're talking about how tight they're playing. They're talking about folding ace 10, just not even opening it. They're talking about making these crazy folds. And then the dealers are also just dealing fire out. Like every hand someone has 10s or better. Like ace king here, but everyone folds, or everyone's going to fold, or like there's a short stack who makes a play. But other than that, everyone else is like, I'm just folding everything. All my pocket pairs, all my ace 10s, they're just folding, right? And then they get into one of those hands. It's like they have to get it in. The guy to my right ends up really short stacked. The blinds are 25K. He's at like 120K. You can kind of tell he's kind of like dejected. He's annoyed now. He's like, oh, I lost that hand, darn it. So the next hand they fold to him. He jams. I'm in the cutoff. I've got ace 8. I've got about 600,000, maybe 620, 30,000. He jams about 120. So I'm like, okay, I got ace 8. He probably just any ace, or he's annoyed. Snap call. Folds to the big blind, who looks down and goes, ooh, and just jams, right? So I'm like, oh, all right, we're dead. I have to hit an ace. But I was playing with this player when we were at three tables. And then I got table changed out of the big blind, and maybe less than 10 minutes after that, the table broke and he came back over. So when I was with him over there, his stack was pretty short. When I swear he had like 220 or something, 230. So when he got to my table and he's sitting in the one seat and he didn't have like stacks and stacks and stacks, I just assumed, oh, he's still got like 220 or so. He's got like 230. So when he went all in, I'm like, oh, it's like another 100. I've got 6, whatever. I call. And then he starts counting out the chips. Yeah, he starts counting. I'm like, I have to hit an ace, whatever. I call. And then I hear this guy over here, oh, I folded ace 10. I'm so glad. I'm like, how did you not even open that? Anyways, oh, also, before that guy said all in, the guy to my right thought everyone had folded and said, oh, I have to hit it too. I'm like, shh, there's still action. There's still action. he had ace 2. I'm like, so I'm feeling good that he said that, but I'm like, don't encourage this guy to play. My hand's not that good. But yeah, so anyway, so then he counts it out. He's counting out his chips. He's got like 340. He's got like 350. I'm like, oh, I lost, instead of losing a third of my chips, I lost over a half. Oh my goodness. So after that, I'm crippled. I've got like 9 or 10 bigs, and I steal the blinds. I skip one. I go to steal the blinds again, and the big blind this time has aces, and I'm out. It's like, wow. So in the course of 3 hands, the big blind had jacks and aces, and I didn't count this guy's stack, and now I'm out.
Yeah.
So that's
What's
disappointing.
the PSA? What's the PSA there, Ty, for the people?
Yeah, the PSA. It's very, very simple. It's free to ask, to count. They'll do it for you. You don't have to look. You can just say, how much is it? Dealer, give me a count. It's free. They don't charge you a thing. It's totally fine. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, it's within the rules of the game and everything.
It's not an angle. I swear. Just ask for a count. It's totally fine. But yep, no, it's still good though to get that. That's my first cash of LAPC. So we'll get that one, cash that one, and we'll get the trophy on the next one. I was really hoping to get that trophy before you, though, so I could wave it around in your face.
But man, if you get that trophy before me, it's going to be the end of the world.
Yeah, we might have to, if we were playing more consistently, we miuld have had to make a nice prop bet here. There's still time. We'll think about it. That was a late night. I was tired. I was recovering. I decided not to play the next day, but you did head in there and represented, yeah?
Yeah, I skipped the XL because I couldn't play because of work, because of the schedule. I thought maybe I could fire the Friday evening flight, and I decided just I would skip it. So I ended up playing on Sunday. I played that 1-day bounty, and my toxic trait is that if I'm at a table with players who are a little bit too loose, not, let's just say mildly, not super technically correct in the way that they play, I end up getting really antsy and need to get into pots with them. So then I started playing way too many hands myself. And the reason why they have a lot of chips is because they're running good, and they're not going to run worse when they're in hands with me. They're going to run even better, right? So then I end up smashing boards. I end up just punting chips, which just pisses me off even more.
Of course, they're
Yeah,
going to
then
run
all of
good
a
if you
sudden,
come in with bad hands, Derek.
right. And what do I expect when I'm playing, like 80% VPIP with them? What am I doing, right? So this is how I end up firing 5 bullets and getting no bounties in that tournament, right? In a Commerce 1 day bounty tournament, firing
Five
five
bullets.
bullets.
That's close to my record, Derek. That's very
Man,
close.
it was
It doesn't, but it's close.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So this is something that I know is a problem of mine, and I just somehow still can't get it under control. This emotional control. It's probably a lot of ego, thinking I can't. I need to be in pots with these people. I need to like those chips are like mine or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
all I'm really doing is punting and playing really poorly. So I have to stop. And every time I feel like every couple of months I'll do something like this where I'm like, man, that was an expensive lesson to not do that anymore. But then right after that, I jumped into this bounty multiplier, and that one was a $600 buy-in. And the nice thing is I just kind of switched my brain off from that mode to like solid mode, and I was just playing really solid for basically this whole session. I don't think anything like great was happening, and I was just kind of middling stack for most of it. But then towards the end, I started getting some pretty decent hands. I'm playing some pretty big pots. I was channeling my inner bin wang a little bit when I kind of stacked up, and I was probably VPIPing around like 80% when it was the cutoff for the button. You know what I mean? And then continued to apply pressure to people. But it was it was a really good day. I ended up bagging 550K at the end there. So yeah, I'm super excited about getting into this on Sunday.
Yeah, right. Just under what our buddy Brian Malik bagged that day. The return list from these first couple days of the bounty multiplier, man, it's just a real
Man,
who's
yeah, it
who's,
is.
real heavy hitters, man. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I know Suyashi, but Brian Malik, you, Chris K. I think I know Peter Pham, but then Luke Wynn. The people who were bagging, Andy bagged peanuts at
That's
the end,
a
but he
that's
did
a
bag.
I think that's a different Luke, but yeah,
Oh,
that's
I'm
a
sorry.
different
Wait.
lockman. But
Oh,
yeah,
there's more than one lockman.
yeah, there's more
Oh,
than
is
one.
he
Yeah,
LUC?
well, I don't know how he spells it, but that wasn't our Luke.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha. But either way, and then when we get into the return list from Xander's flight, well, why don't we just do it? And then Xander's flight was Monday. The Monday return
His flight
flight.
is
Look at this
ridiculous.
return list. This return
Yeah,
list.
this flight's
I'm so happy. I was telling them, well, number one, it would be best for me if they did not bag, but if they're gonna bag, I'm glad they're all done so that I don't have to play them on the day ones. I mean, look at
I
this.
mean, that's what I mean, man. Xander, look at the field that you're in, and you bagged
Look at this.
280K in this, man.
Jared
What's with
Griner
your,
won.
Imposter Syndrome.
Adam Swan, Ryan Salonga, whose name we've seen everywhere now. You're just
It's
it's gonna
Ryan
be
again.
it's like when you buy a car, now you see him everywhere.
It's everywhere, yeah.
I'm
I
not
didn't know who he was before, but now who he is now.
I'm not sure about Navdeep, but must be solid here, Michael Steele. But then one of the Bayo brothers here, Elvin Bayo, Edward Liu, Mr.
Edward Liu,
many rings,
Mr.
right?
Zen.
And then Xander, yep. And there's a lot of Georges. I'm not sure which George this is, but
And then
Sohail,
Soul
yep.
Kayla.
Soul,
Oh my
is
gosh.
that how you pronounce his name? Soul?
I think he says Soul or
Okay.
Saul, but maybe I don't know how to pronounce it
Yeah.
exact. Maybe like Soil or something. Yeah.
Gotcha. But yeah, these return lists, man, this day, the day two of this bounty multiplier is shaping up to be really tough. So
I'm looking forward to this. I love battling against good players on a big day too, like this, especially in a bounty tournament, especially a bounty multiplier tournament with 2K bounties. I'm just really interested to see how people are going to play.
yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be a
But it
really,
should
really
be good.
fun day
2K
too.
bounties are so big. It's going to be so those.
Yeah.
It's just such an interesting dynamic that everyone
Yeah.
is worth so much.
Yeah.
Oh, Xander said he likes to ask for a count when you have aces. What a jerk, Xander. Come on. If there's one time not to ask for a count, it's when you have aces, slow roller. But yeah, so congrats, Derek, on the early bag. You get to take a little rest next week before. I'm
Yeah,
going to have
yeah.
to be in there in the trenches on Friday and hopefully not Saturday trying to get my bag. So, one other thing, or I guess two other small things. One, did you notice the table games they set up in the ballroom?
Oh yeah.
What the heck?
That was. You know what's funny? When I was looking at them first, I laughed and I was like, you know what? Like half of these players are running downstairs during their breaks trying to get in a couple of hands. So why not make it easier for them? And especially since we've been talking about the revenue per square foot, right, and all that kind of stuff. I actually don't mind. It's funny on the surface, but I actually don't mind. You're just making it easier for the players that were going to do that anyway, just to be
Yeah.
able to do it up there without having to run
It's
stairs.
kind of hilarious.
It is really, really funny.
And then the other funny thing is, we don't get paid out until so late at night. The tables are closed by then, so you can't even like final table and then like they can't have a baccarat set up there. So like if certain Pauls were to win, they can't just take their winnings and just snap play
Yeah.
baccarat. They have to go somewhere else. So that's kind of funny. But whatever. It was just really jarring when I went up there on Saturday and I saw those games.
Yeah.
I'm like, you took away tables for what? Was this a
Yeah.
compromise? What's going on?
I think Franklin actually sent me like a picture of it, like when it first happened. I was like laughing. I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I can't believe this." Yeah.
So we'll have to ask DJ about that. So for all you listening, we're hoping to have DJ on next week. We've been trying to get him on for the past couple of weeks. He's had to get something cleared, or he's had to clear his schedule, this or that. But so that's the bad news. The good news is, he says he thinks we can do this probably next week. And the good news is, I think he's starting to feel guilty. Fingers crossed, but I think there's a really good chance that he's going to bring some LAPC swag on. We'll do some giveaways
Nice.
or something. We'll tell him, we'll have him promise some LAPC swag to some of you watching. So we'll spread the word once we get confirmation. But tell everybody to watch, get on here. We'll try and get some stuff out to people. And in the meantime, think of some questions you want to ask him. Once we do get them confirmed, we'll put up a thread on our Twitter, and you can put some questions up in advance.
Yep.
All right. So, let's take a minute and kind of swing around the news. Let's check out some of the headlines. There's some interesting stuff happening, or some things of note. One headline that popped up here is, you may remember our buddy here, Gal Yifrach. He used to play on HCL. He used to play on Live at the Bike, and then he kind of disappeared. And the headline was that he was getting arrested for money laundering and gambling. So we have an update. The case is moving forwards. They have a mountain of evidence. So little update.
Yeah,
on him.
that is really unfortunate. I've actually played with this guy a bunch of times. He's a really, really good player. In tournaments around LA. I'm not sure if I played cash with him before. But yeah, this is really unfortunate. I mean, seemed like a nice guy. I guess you never know really what's kind of going on.
Yeah. So he is apparently mostly in trouble for allegedly running like slot machines and kind of electronic stuff, and then trying to launder that money so he can buy assets. So
Yeah.
I don't know him, but it's interesting. I never got to play with him, but he is definitely a good player. He's got over 2 million in tournament cashes and a bracelet, I believe, right? So too bad.
Yeah.
It's too bad for him.
Yeah, definitely a good player and really unfortunate situation overall. But yeah, be careful out there with the things you decide to do as a side hustle.
I know, right? Then the other unfortunate news story we're going to share is, I was saying, unfortunately, I feel like I see a story like this every year around here, and it's just a good reminder when you're leaving the casinos, when you're heading home, especially if you had a really big score. Be careful. Be
Yeah.
aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who's watching you. Do your best to try and keep yourself safe. There was a man who was followed home from Commerce all the way back to Irvine on January 19th. Luckily, the would-be robber was scared away by his family. But like this seems like something like this happens every year. I don't know.
Yeah. And shout out to Jesse for showing this to me while I was at the Commerce. But the crazy thing about this story is he lives in a gated community
Yeah.
through, and I don't know why the security guard would let like some random car get through there, but that's absolutely nuts.
Well,
Um,
it may have been an automatic gate. Maybe this guy just tailgated him really close. That's
no, I
possible,
mean,
right? Or does it
they say
say
it's a gated community. It said it's a gated community with a security guard, right? Like there's
oh,
a guard sitting
with
in
his
the gate in a
geez.
gated community. Yeah, so typically there's a guard in a gated community. So yeah, that's really bad.
Hmm.
Um, But yeah, like when you're getting out of the casino, like we talked about this some previous episode, right?
Hmm.
Or maybe it was on Twitter. I don't remember. Anyways, the PSA is basically if you don't have a player's bank at the casino, get a player's bank, right? So there's a difference between like a player's bank and a security box, or even doing something like getting a marker. But basically, you can store money at the casino as if it were a bank, right? And usually I'll just leave my bankroll there, and then I'll just go to Commerce, play a couple of tournaments. If typically, if I need like a big cash out, I'll ask for checks. I'm not carrying cash with me, but I very rarely ever bring cash to and from the casino. So practice that. I mean, that's what that's there for. The player's bank is there for your safety, and it's actually kind of nice that you don't have to be like running to the bank and like worrying about money in your house. So do that, and then just be super careful when you're going out. If you did get a big score, ask for a security guard to escort you. Tip them whatever, like $10, $20 for escorting you to your car. practice all the safety that you can, and when you're leaving, just make sure you're not being followed, right? Sometimes I just take some circular routes to get home, even if nobody's behind me, just for the hell of it. But just in case something bad might happen, right? So just be really, really careful when you're out there playing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Be aware. Be
Yeah.
aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who's following you. Kind of keep a eye out, or be aware of kind of some public places or even police stations, ideally, but some public type
Yeah.
places you could direct yourself to if necessary. Xander mentions valet sometimes helps with this. That's for
Yep.
sure, because then it's harder for someone to follow you to your parking lot, get the information about your car,
Yeah.
and then have someone chase you down. They have to be
Yeah.
kind of quicker and have someone on the inside with the valet or something. So
Yeah.
all of these
I
great tips
typically,
for sure.
I, yeah, I typically valet on day twos, or just like basically the day where there would be a final table. Just in
Gotcha.
case I end up like, yeah, getting a big cash. I do typically valet on those days.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good advice. And there are other sources. I believe I saw a pretty good YouTube video that Bart Hansen did when he had a caller who had a problem like this, and he gave some good tips as well. So I recommend looking that kind of thing up. I think one of the things he mentioned was if you're leaving a casino and going somewhere, don't drive to like some secluded parking lot to like get that late night noodle soup all by yourself, or because
Right.
you're just like a sitting duck in this dark parking lot while you're trying to go get an errand or
Right.
something, right? So be careful of that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, just get home. That's the priority.
Yeah, yeah. Unless you know you're being followed, then just maybe go to the police station or to the
Of course. Yeah.
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 So a little PSA there. Another update we have on speaking some more. All the news today is bad, man. Speaking of some more less than great news, ACR issued a slight update. They said something recently. I don't know. Derek seemed to be on top of it. He had an opinion here on a tweet.
Yeah. So just to kind of run back what happened, 2+2 discovered that there were bots on ACR. They provided some proof. ACR was like, we have no bots. Chris Moneymaker was like, ACR challenges you to put a bot on our site. By the next day, somebody had put a bot on their site and was trying to claim their 100K bounty in a job, and ACR is like, no, this doesn't count. You had to do like this or this or this, and then they didn't say anything for about like a week and a half, and then they came back and they said basically that they put a blog post out that basically said that we were aware that there were bots. All the bots that were called out in that 2+2 forum, like we already knew about them and we already handled most of them. But some of them, we didn't get to. But then, we're like closely monitoring them or something. And it was a complete like BS response. So I mean, I kind of made a joke about it here. It's like day one, no bots. Day two, we dare you to put bots on ACR. Day three, okay, you could put a bot in right away, but not that way. And then it's silence for 16 days. And then you say that this is like just the absolute PR disaster, and it's a joke.
Yeah, yeah. The general outcome was like, don't worry about bots. We have Venom coming up, guys. And by the way, Bet on Drew's giving away seats. That was the last thing I saw.
Yeah, this is a disaster, and like this is the first. I mean, I think I've skipped a bunch of Venoms here and there, but I definitely am not playing this one, and I don't know if I'll be playing on ACR too much going forward.
Well, I know I will be skipping this Venom. That's for sure.
It's too bad because the Venom is a great tournament too. I ran deep in that one, I think, last year. But yeah, it's an unfortunate situation overall.
Yeah, was it the Venom that you got second in, or was that some other random $1 million?
Oh man, if I got
tournament?
second, if I got second in the Venom, I would have been very, very rich.
That would have been
it was
that
a
would
high
have been $1
roller.
million?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was the high roller. I think I cashed like 120K or something like that. But yeah, the Venom, I think I went into like the 50s, or I don't
Okay,
remember what it was.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, let's try and shift over to something a little happier. Let's talk about award season. So in poker,
GPI.
yeah, we don't have a ton of awards in poker, right? We have bracelets and trophies, but these kind of awards are not quite so common. So let's take a look at the GPI nominees of the year. Now, I never really cared about these much before, but there's a couple categories around that maybe we're going to start caring about. So yeah, I don't know. I'll watch every now and then. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. So these are apparently the alphabetical categories. So oh no, they list the nominees alphabetically. Okay. So who do you got here? So the first award they list is the choice for toughest opponent. Who do you think is your toughest opponent of these four? We got Ike Haxton, Steven Chidwick, Jason Kuhn, and Alex Foxen.
Yeah, obviously a bunch of crushers. I think most people, even the high roller people, kind of talk about Chidwick as, one of the toughest, and he's actually the one that I actually seek out to watch. I think him and Fox and both, and Cornuth, and then a little bit of Kuhn. But Chidwick is definitely the one that I seek out the most to watch because he really blends the theory along with the exploitation almost like perfectly, and he never seems to make a mistake. He's just a absolute monster.
I gotcha. I doubt I'll get the opportunity to play with these guys unless I, run into them at the main event or something. But from what I hear, I think the toughest opponent for me to play against would be Foxen or Chidwick because I hear they tank and take a long time on a lot of decisions and time. They do a lot of staring and not moving. And I would personally find that very hard to not get annoyed and start, verbally battling with them because I saw a clip of Foxen actually came for the WPT at the Gardens and he was playing against, I can't remember his name, but the fellow who brings Jeff, who's playing against Jeff, the guy who brings the German Shepherd. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
and the clip was Foxen's stare, and I'm like, the heck, it's a 3K at the Gardens against our local buddy, and you're just sitting there staring at him on the turn for like whatever, like what's going on? And then he's Jeff's playing back slow probably because he's playing slow, so I have to play slow, right? And it's like God, that I would find that hard to play against, but that may not be the
Yeah.
spirit of the question. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's like Xander saying Haxton's a beast too. Yeah, Haxton's
Yep.
also he's been around forever, this guy. So he's definitely stood the test of time in terms of his poker play.
Yep. All right, the next category, best final table performance. Now, I did not see the coverage for most of these performances. The only one I watched was the WPT and the main event for the WSOP. So I don't have much opinion. I feel like the WPT final. Let's see. Yeah, no, nope. I don't think it was that one. Weinman and I. Yeah, I can't give an opinion. I didn't watch these final tables enough. Did you watch all these final tables?
I did. I watched. Well, I didn't watch the Prague one and the WSOP Paradise. I might have watched it. I don't remember because I do watch a lot of the streams, but I definitely watched the entire WPT, and obviously that was the World Championship in Vegas. Daniel Sepiol played really well. I think he came in as a little bit of a dark horse because he was like sort of an unknown like pro. He knocked me. He actually bad beat me out of the Tournament of Champions, and I dislike him just solely for that reason. So it's kind of like anti-rooting against him at that final table. But I have to admit he did play really really well. Then obviously Daniel Weinman for the main event, shipping that was very exciting. So I think I would just pick that without having seen the others, just because how exciting it was and how he made it like all the way there. The hands that he played, the Jack's hand where he like basically tripled up against like kings and queens or something
Yeah.
like that. So it was yeah, it was quite a run, and he's also like a super nice guy. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. What I did watch of the WPT final table, he definitely played very well. So I can't say much though because I didn't watch the other two final tables. So I feel like I can't really give an opinion on that one. GPI breakout player. All right, breakout player. I only know Suvarna from watching him recently in the really high roller kind of tournaments at the end of the year here, and his HCL and other cash game appearances. Who I don't know these
It
other
is
guys. Do you?
funny that Santosh is in the breakout player category because I mean, and maybe I guess I could say because they're all like public players because he seems like he's a bit of a fish in the
That's how he was.
HCL games.
Yeah, it's kind of how he was billed, right? But in the tournaments,
Yeah.
he's been cashing. That Triton he cashed, and the other one, I
Yeah.
don't know if he's up or not, but he was cashing in these things, the big high rollers.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Jan Zaren's. He is a sicko tournament like online player that started playing live, but then he started crushing live. And if you watched him play, he plays very, very, very good poker. So he's also really good. Samuel Laskowitz. So he played a bunch of the Poker Go events, and he just final table with Negranu. And then him playing there, you can also tell that he's a really, really good player. So obviously, these are all really good players. I'm not familiar with Cop, but yeah, this is
Yeah,
looks like a pretty fun category too.
I don't know if he would count, but
Yeah.
Daniel
Xander.
Smirnovic or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah. Smilovich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Smilovich. I feel like he should be in here. I had not heard of him before Paradise. And
Yeah.
since then, I have
Man.
only seen him everywhere.
That dude is unbelievable. And Xander is saying that I guess Santosh plays wild and Cashwood plays well in tourney, so I
nice.
guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Smilkovic, he was at my first table at the WPT.
Oh, was he?
main. Yeah, at the WPT.
No
main, he was
kidding.
at my table, and that was the first time I'd ever seen him. I mean, I actually watched that table. He got third place in some of it. and then I see him there. And since then, it's the same thing as just like with the name we were just reading for our local tournaments. I feel like every time I turn on poker, I've been seeing him. I've been seeing him
Yeah,
like the at the
yeah,
Poker Go championship thing, and
yeah.
then at all the final tables.
He
It's like,
beat
geez.
he beat Arden heads up. I
Yep.
think that's another guy that it's between him and then the other dude. I forget his name, but they are Euros that play hyper aggressively,
Yeah.
and they are in that category of a Ben Wing and Steven Song where you see them just absolutely freaking punt,
Hmm.
but they don't care. So like again, we really I think I am myself continuously challenging myself on how I think
He
about
says it's
tournament poker.
solver approved. I don't know. All
I
right.
mean, the thing is, a lot of what he does is actually solver proof, right? The solver can be also hyper aggressive.
So best Twitter personality. Unfortunately, I guess the grassroots effort to get Derek on the ballot. I nominated Derek. I don't know
Thank
about the
you,
rest of
thank
you
you.
guys.
You
We
know
couldn't
what?
get
I
him
didn't
on the
think I have
ballot.
any shot of. I was kind of hoping they would have honorable mentions, but they don't have any of those. I was hoping I would make that because there's no way I would beat any of these four, right? Like,
Yeah,
I love Marley Sprague, I love Caitlyn, and Will is so funny too, and then Jamie obviously is an
yeah.
unbelievable personality. So yeah,
I love Will's rebuttals and calling people out.
yeah,
The other two, I
yeah.
feel
He's like,
like most of their really banger posts are the content they make, but just
yeah, that's the
Will's. I
content.
feel
It's
like
so
Will
funny.
has more just actual Twitter, actual tweets that are, you know,
Yeah.
that are bigger content. So I guess I would vote for him. I don't really follow Jamie that much, or she hasn't tweeted as much, but um, she doesn't show up on my timeline as much as the others. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I don't for me either. Yeah.
All right, best streamer. So Kev Martin, Bert Stevens, Benjamin Sprague, Lex Valdez. Personally,
Yeah,
I
that
would
was
go for
all me.
Giraffe Ganger here. I didn't know
Yeah, of
much
course.
about him, but once I saw him win that high roller, looking at some of his clips, I love him. The passion, the fire, the fun.
Yeah, he is really, really just an exciting player to watch. He's fun to watch. He's like some sort of chain smoking, like crazy person inside of a basement playing
In
stream
a
poker. But
dungeon
he's,
basement,
he's
like that setup. Holy
yeah,
cow.
he is right. But he's also a pretty good player, obviously, and he shipped a huge like Poker Stars main event or something.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I
yeah,
think it was like the World
yeah. That
Series main or something. It was something.
yeah, I think he should probably win this
Yeah.
one.
No, no, personal taste. I like Spraggy's humor. I'm not a big fan of Kev Martin. Every time I see him on something, I'm just like not a super
Yeah,
fan. Can't, it's just not my taste. And I don't know much about Lex, but I'm hoping
yeah.
get Giraffe here. Bert wins
I
this.
think Lex is one of the original like poker streamers. He's the one that kind of started it all, and yeah, he's good. He's good.
All right, best vlogger. They have more people in this category, but a
Oh,
lot of really popular names in here. Jamon Burton, Corey Eyring. I think he's kind of new to the scene. Dean Eggs, Brad Owen, and Wolfgang.
yeah, Wolfgang and A-Ring particularly just really grew their audience is huge. So definitely, yeah, I also would love to have been an honorable mention here or something, but obviously I'm nowhere close to even the subscribers
Just
that these
keep
guys have.
keep grinding it out. We'll get
Yeah,
there. We'll
yeah,
get there. You'll get there, man. These
yeah,
guys didn't do it overnight. I would
yeah.
love to
Thank you,
see
buddy.
Jamon. I watched some of his vlogs. I love the work and care he puts into them, but
Hmm.
personally, I feel like I don't know how he did it, but if Wolfgang's channel is literally just poker and he got to 1 million, I feel like he's probably gonna deserve it. Like that's such a
It
milestone.
is
That's
it is
crazy.
unbelievable how huge he grew. Like I didn't really even hear about him until like, maybe he showed up in a Poker Stars article, a Poker News article like a month ago, and I was like, "Who's this guy?" And I was like, "Man, wow, huge audience."
Apparently, Corey has a new series called "Gambling His Net Worth," so that would explain why. To
Yeah,
be honest,
yeah,
I don't really watch many vloggers, much vlogs at all. I've never seen any. I've never seen any Wolfgang vlogs. I've never seen Corey. I think DNegs is probably the one on this list I've watched the most just to kind of get a feel for
yeah.
what the Paradise and the World Series was feeling like before I went over there. Um, but
Yeah, I actually love watching DNX's stuff during the World Series, and also Patrick Leonard's like stories are also really good.
oh yeah,
But I just went and checked out like basically Corey and Wolfgang's like videos just to see what they were up to for my own research, and they're all really good.
yeah. I would imagine they're kind of the more modern, fast-paced editing style. Lots of cuts and
Yeah.
jokes and things popping up, right? Which is great.
Yep.
But yeah, I just don't watch them. Shout out. It's so much work to edit that kind of stuff. But yeah, shout out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, best short form content creator. We have Greg Goes All In, Marley, Wolfgang, and Caitlin. So definitely a tough category here. Like I said, I haven't
That
seen
is
Wolfgang,
tough, man.
never seen
Yeah,
Wolfgang, but
Greg.
of the rest, Between
Yeah, that's.
Marley and Greg, I don't know. I guess I would vote.
I mean,
That's a tough
The
one.
thing is, like, Marley just does more frequent ones, which are
Right.
really
That's
funny.
why.
But every single thing that Caitlyn puts out is an absolute banger. The last one that she did, the last series that she did on the Game of Gold was so freaking funny. Um, I'm actually gonna go and watch back those after we're done with the podcast.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
just so funny.
No, she's definitely solid on those. But I think just for variety and other uh, cleverness, I like Marley's content overall. But
Yeah,
man, Greg is also just like really churns
Greg
it out and
is,
it's
yeah,
consistent. I like that.
very
It's really
consistent.
tough.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm not voting here. It's really tough for me
yeah,
between
this is
Marley
a
and Greg.
tough category.
And I've never seen Wolfgang, so I can't say there. All right, best industry person. I feel like this is the award, right, where they just kind of rotated every year.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I mean Maury obviously and Adam Pliska, what he's done with the WPT have done so much for poker. I guess I'm not as familiar with Ryan Beauregard and Francine Watson, but
Hmm.
just those top two guys have done just absolutely so much for poker. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I'm not as familiar either, but I think they should give it to whoever paid the overlay at the WPT main.
That was Mr. Pliska.
Yep. So that's my vote. That's my vote. Oh no, this is the one that they rotate. Sorry, best tournament director: Jack Effel, Ray Pulford, Matt Savage, Toby Stone. So
Yeah,
who won it last year? Was it
I don't
Effel?
know. Yeah, I mean, just the way that's, I mean, obviously they're all really, really good, and even our tournament directors here in LA are all really, really good. But then I think Savage, not that he should just get handed it every single year, but I mean, the guy is just so in tune to the game, so in tune with trends, everything that he comes up with in terms of decisions always seem to make sense. So definitely like one of the industry leaders for tournament directors.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel like they tend to just alternate it between WSOP and WPT, so
Yeah,
it might
yeah,
be Savage's year. We'll see.
yeah.
Okay, best event: the Irish Poker Open Main, World Series Main, WPT Prime Championship, or the WPT Main. That's interesting. I feel like it's definitely going to be the World Series Main. It broke the record, right?
Um, in terms of experience, the World Championship at the Win is better than the World Series main event, but obviously the main event during the World Series is what everyone's there for to win bracelets. That's the big, big main event, and it's huge. So,
Yeah, I mean it broke
but
it broke
just
the record. I don't know how you can compete
yeah,
though. Like just
right.
I mean
Yeah, I guess it's got to be the World Series main. I
I don't
mean,
know.
it's just
That's
the best one of the
yeah.
year.
That's just what I'm feeling. Like it's
Yeah,
the biggest, the largest tournament. It's
yeah,
how do you
yeah.
beat that? I mean,
Right,
it's not like it was a terrible event.
right.
Best mid-major circuit or tour. The Brazilian series of poker. That's pretty new, isn't it? Or it's just starting to get bigger. Run Good, World Series Circuit, and WPT Prime. Interesting.
Yeah, Run Good was definitely making numbers, man. I see a lot of big, big numbers coming out of that Run Good series, and obviously the WPT Prime. That might actually be the winner just because of what they're doing in Vegas. It's just such an amazing event that happens there in December.
Well,
But
this is for
yeah,
their
well,
circuit, though, right? So that must mean the WPT Prime goes out to other casinos and whatnot,
yeah, yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, we got Joe Matten in the chat. WPT main at Win is a better experience. Yeah, I agree that the main at the Win is just unbelievable. That whole series in December is just incredible.
all right. Best broadcaster: uh, Henry Kilbane, Ali Najad, Jeffrey Platt, and Nick Schulman. I'm gonna vote for Jeff here. I just if for nothing else, just for all the shit he had to take all year as the Grim Reaper, and for taking
Yeah,
it in stride and rolling with it.
yeah.
He's doing great. And personally, this might be This is probably my most controversial take I've ever said on the show. But Nick and Ali's late night, like whatever humor they have going, I don't think that's for me. I don't think it's for me.
Wow, no
I've
kidding.
never watched
I
an
think
entire broadcast of it, but like the clips and everyone
right.
else cracking up, falling out of their chairs, I'm like, yeah,
Uh,
okay,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
humor is subjective, I
yeah.
suppose, but I do that, obviously you preface that with controversial take. I do think Ali and Nick are it's not only the most unbelievable pairing in poker broadcasting, but just I don't know any other broadcasting where I'll just sit there and listen to people for hours and hours like I do to these guys. I think their humor actually is like really spot on and just the stuff that Ali and they play so well off of each other. But if I had to name one broadcaster, I think it would have to be Nick Schulman, almost hands down. Obviously these other guys are really talented and just not. It's almost just not fair they're living in the same era as a Nick Schulman. But this guy is just a really really great announcer overall. But then he's so much about the game. He's a high stakes player himself. So yeah,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I haven't watched them for a really long stream ever, and I definitely agree with you about Nick being able to break down the game and whatnot. It's just that
Yeah.
the clips of the parts that people that like are going viral, like this is so funny, like this moment was so amazing. I'm just like, I mean,
I end up completely cracking up at some of their stuff sometimes. Like I'll just be
that's
sitting in the
fair.
room by myself, just absolutely just rolling on the floor. But yeah,
All right, best podcast. Some notable omissions here, but maybe we'll start a campaign next year. We
yeah,
are a
let's get us on this list.
bit of a regional taste, but Thinking
Yeah,
Poker podcast. That's one I've listened to on and off for quite a long time over the years. Definitely very solid. The Chip Race Poker podcast. I think I've listened to one or two episodes of that. Only Friends podcast. That's one I listen to quite a bit. And Poker in the Ears. I've never watched that one or listened to that one.
I
I
don't
guess
think
it's
I've
a
heard of
Poker
that one
Stars
either.
production
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of arguments. Thinking Poker podcast should get the win this year, and I would tend to agree. Honestly, I think that if nothing else, just lifetime achievement. That this podcast Brokos
Yeah.
has been going on forever. Good quality stuff.
Yeah. And I actually met somebody who's doing a Triton podcast, I think coming up soon. His name is Brett or Brent.
Oh
I
yeah,
met him at the Gardens Main.
hmm
So yeah, we exchanged information, but it looks like he's going to be getting a Triton one up. So
yeah. I think I saw
interesting.
that guy too.
A lot of competition here in the podcast space, obviously.
Yep. Best media content written. I have not read all of these. I've not read The Truth Detective, and I think I've only
Oh,
read one of these articles.
I'm gonna
So
go read all of these. Nice.
yeah, the articles we can get at quick. The Truth Detective, you're gonna have to
Yeah,
punk down.
yeah.
So can't say what's going on there. So good luck to all of you all. I have no opinion. Best media content video. Uh, Here we go. The individual one, right? A love letter to the $1 million game. Kate Kaminsky, Doyle Brunson. That's his. I believe this is like his memorial video they did at Poker Go. Marley's ICM skit and Phil
ICM
Phil
skit was so
Galfond. Wow, Phil Galfond
freaking funny.
has a submission in this. Interesting.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. I mean, I think I've seen that Caitlyn one. I didn't watch the one who didn't blink, so I'll have to check what that is. Yeah.
I only watched
And then
part of it. I didn't. It didn't hit with me. I mean, it was fine.
okay.
It didn't hit. I
Yeah.
feel like Doyle or Marley would be my vote, and it's really like if Marley's production value is the only thing that holds me back from really, really going after everything she does.
I kind of feel like Caitlyn might win this. I mean, she has to win something because it's just those things are unbelievable. Her impressions are
Yeah,
just
if we're gonna take the body of work and give her just one of them all, this would probably be a good one.
yeah,
Yeah.
this might be it. Because that one was very. I almost preferred that the second game of gold one that she did was just I couldn't believe it. Just thinking about it's making me laugh. Anyways, yeah.
All right, so good luck to all those guys. Best media content photo. Here's one we can have a opinion on. It's just a photo here. I gotta love the Shulman cool picture. That's just
That
such a great
Showman one is
pose.
yeah. I feel like that one
Everything.
just
It's
gotta
just such a
win.
great photo.
I just gotta win. I
The
feel bad for that guy in that upper left.
uh
But I think that was the guy who busted aces versus kings in like the first hand or something of the World Series.
I do remember that picture coming out, and it was great timing. It's
Yeah,
just if the photo quality itself was a little more dramatic, I think I could go
yeah,
for it. It's not quite as evocative as like the Brady sitting down in the rain after his
yeah,
loss. But man, that Shulman's he's just too cool. I don't know. He's
yeah.
just too cool. And there's too many hands covering all the faces in the other pictures. So
Right. Yeah, Xander, I did watch Marley's one dealer's kit, and it was funny because it was almost. I think that so many of Marley's videos is I end up like turning away in embarrassment sometimes, right? And that was one where I was just like, oh my gosh, I totally know like a dealer like this. But that's what makes her so great, you
yeah,
know?
no, I love it. And I love dealers like that, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, best poker personality. I only know Greg Goes All In's work. I don't know any of these other guys. Oh, Slow Poker. I know who
Well,
he is, but I haven't watched his stuff.
yeah, and that's Wolfgang up there in the upper right,
Yeah, I
and
don't know him though. So
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I see, yeah.
yeah, I only the only time I've heard Wolfgang speak is when he was in Rampage's videos. I think about to play on Hustler or something. So
Hmm.
don't know anything about these guys.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you have an opinion on that one. Fans' choice, best live stream. Here we go. What's the best live stream? Ooh, tough one. And
Ooh,
these are so
that is a
different.
tough
They're
one.
so different.
Yeah. I'm not big on the cash game live streams anymore. Like every once in a while, like a super high roller one where a bunch of really good players are there. Sometimes I'll catch one of those, but they all just seem to be people absolutely like punting in
Oh
some
yeah,
ridiculous hands. And I don't, I mean, yeah,
I'm
there's
with
some
you.
degeneracy involved, but yeah, I religiously watch
I
all the
go
high rollers
Triton.
on Poker Go, the Tritons. Yeah,
Yeah, I gotta
absolutely,
go.
just
Triton gets my
absorbed.
vote. I gotta get Triton in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yep. No, I'm with you. I'm over cash game streams. Unless I know someone on there, I'm pretty much over.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Fans' choice for best hand. I did see some of these. Perkins goes all in and leaves. Um,
That was funny. Yeah.
Dwan versus Polk, and then Dwan
Oh, that
versus
was a
Wesley.
crazy. I think that Dwan Polk actually should win. That was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Wow, I forgot about that hand.
Polk goes for it. Dwan picks him off, and he's like knit rolling the heck out of him.
Yeah,
And then Dwan versus Wesley. I think I agree with you. I like the Dwan versus Polk one.
yeah,
It's
that was
got like everything,
unbelievable.
including a slow roll. I mean,
Yeah, that Polk Wesley one was good. That was such a great. Like, see, that is like
uh,
the once in
Dwan
a while
Wesley
there's a
not
stream
a.
like that.
I
Yeah,
don't like that one
every
as
once
much.
in a while there's a stream like that that's just like unbelievable, and most of them just like this is so punty and painful.
Yeah. Yep. Like the top left, I don't really think that should qualify as greatest hand of all time in any way.
It was funny. I
It's
laughed really
funny.
hard.
Yeah, it's funny,
I, it,
but
you know what? You know what? Like I saw the premise of it and I was like, oh, but then when I watched it, like when you actually watch it, it's even funnier than the premise. It's just very funny how it went down.
yeah, I don't know. It was funny. It was funny. It was entertaining. I just don't think it's like a great hand, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not compared to that
Yeah, it's
one
good
Polk hand,
entertainment.
yeah.
It's good. It's good quality entertainment. It's just not a great hand. But I definitely my vote's definitely the Dwan versus Polk.
Yeah.
All right, best trophy. Best trophy. What do we got? There's no Remingtons in there.
Yeah. It's gotta be the bracelet, yo.
That is a really nice bracelet this year. Not the
Yeah.
lion. That one's this. I'm surprised that the Champions Cup counts because you don't get to take it home.
I mean, I like the
I,
NAPT. I know obviously Mr. Sammy has one of those now, which is
yeah,
awesome.
no, I like the
But I
design. It's
think that
simple. I would like a
yeah, but I
closer
think
look
the
at this dragon trophy myself. Some different
yeah, that
angles.
does look pretty cool, huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think it's gotta be
yeah,
bracelet.
the main event bracelet for sure. All right, and then
Yeah.
there was one more category. Let's just take a quick. Let's quick back it up here. One more was best standalone festival and series. So there was Irish Poker
Yeah.
Open, Malta Poker Festival, Seminole Hard Rock Poker Open, and the Win Millions Poker Series. I think I maybe went up for one event in the millions, but other than that, did not go to any of these. I have no opinions. However, man, didn't we're just having a 2 month long series right now. Did this used to get nominated for things? Like I don't know what what is going on. Like LA has a series every single month. Why can't we get in there, Derek? What's the problem?
Yeah, I think this is a good segue into the next topic, which is, I think forever people have thought that LA is the number two poker destination behind Vegas, right, in the US anyways, and probably in the world because, the US is going to be the biggest like footprint for poker. But we have to start asking ourselves, is that true anymore, right? Our two flagship series are LAPC at the Commerce and Legends of Poker at the Bike. And obviously, I think that we are all in the middle of a pretty good poker boom, right? You see, super excited about LAPC raising their guarantees. Super excited to hear about, Mo promoting $2 million guarantee tournaments like that. That's really nuts. But I think it's good to compare it to, what else is happening out there, across the US right now. Yeah, and when you looked at this, and I think we were tweeting a little bit about this about the Bureau Ravage, which is in Mississippi. So these guys pulled $1.5 million for a $400 event, right? And a $1,200 main event that also pulled in $1.5 million, right? So
And
we do
I think that
numbers.
$400 event only had 6 starting flights. I think.
Right, right. And we do numbers like that, but I think that we need to hold ourselves to a much higher standard because we are Los Angeles, but also I looked up some of the population numbers. The entire population of Mississippi is 3 million people. It's 3 million people. Just Los Angeles is 4 million. Just Los Angeles. But obviously we know that people come from all over to play our tournaments, right? So like
San
San Gabriel
Diego.
Valley, right? Like that's not Los Angeles. And people come from Alhambra and come from Pasadena to come play,
Orange
right?
County. Yeah.
Orange County, right?
Yep.
Irvine, Long Beach, right? Huntington Beach. People are coming from there. So people do make that trek from San Diego. I don't know how far into the valley it stops being Los Angeles, but people come from the valley also to play. So if you were to count SoCal, like SoCal's population is 24 million people, right? So if Mississippi is pulling numbers like this with 3 million people, what's happening here, right? What should our numbers be? And I think that's a really fair question to ask. And you talk to some Vegas pros, and even like Christina Gollins, she's like, I don't really come to LA anymore, right? Because your guarantees are so low. You know what I mean? It's like we get like some of your main event guarantees are just like a side event guarantee for us, right? So LA is definitely starting to fall behind, I think, across the country when you look at some of these other places.
Yeah, and it really
I mean, what do
feels
you
like
think?
if you set the guarantee and you advertise, people will come. It really seems that way.
Right.
Um, all of the
And
I haven't heard of anyone other than the competition that kind of caused the 10K, the WBT main to miss, which was an absurd guarantee. Their guarantee was absurdly high. I haven't really heard of anybody missing a big guarantee in the last 2 years, year and a half. Like ever since we had kind of
yeah,
that not fiasco, but basically once we kind of recovered from the COVID uh, downswing, right? The little low lull in numbers there. I haven't heard anybody missing guarantees, so it really feels
yeah.
like if you build it, they will come these days.
Yeah, and I get not wanting to miss the guarantees, but and also I also want to 100% mention, right? The cost of doing business in California and especially in Los Angeles is really high compared
Yeah,
to other places
absolutely.
in terms of rents, how much you have to pay people, all the crazy regulations that California has. I totally get it. So we're not really comparing apples to apples, but we're also not just blaming this on losing the WSOP or the WPT events here, right? These are standalone series that have nothing to do with the WSOP and WPT, and they're pulling these kind of numbers. You really have to kind of ask what's going on, right? So Xander's saying, I think part of it is that a lot of other casinos are nicer than the ones in LA. Yeah, our LA casinos are getting really old, right? The Bike did a pretty good job renovating their front, and I think now they're renovating the other areas. But the Garden has always been really nice, but Commerce is getting super old, man. Yeah,
I think one other thing that it might hurt us for creating one big, huge, exciting event is that we have so many events. We have a series every single month, right? It's
yeah, but look at
possible
Vegas.
that like Mississippi there, they only have two tournaments a year, two
Sure.
tournament series a year, and maybe it's easier to build excitement around them. So maybe that does help.
Yeah,
So
it does help, but when you look at Vegas, right? So Vegas obviously has too many casinos competing with each other to be able to rotate. So they just run the series on top of each other all year round, and they're crushing guarantees left and right? And Mississippi again, like from the reason why Los Angeles has so many casinos is because we're so huge, and also we are serving in Southern California 24 million people, right? So there's plenty of room for casinos and
absolutely.
plenty of room to rotate. Mississippi, yes, like they might have a concentration, but the concentration is 3 million people across the entire state. I'm not talking about a city, like the entire state of Mississippi is 3 million people. So, yeah, I again, like I'm not like shit talking any casinos or anything like that, but just right now, I do feel like we are a bit falling behind in Los Angeles, and we are probably under investing in poker overall.
Yeah, I think any ideas we can come up with to make things more exciting or to get people to come here and make this more of a if we could
Yeah,
have what we have plus make this some sort of a poker tournament destination, I think that would be great. One thing I do kind of feel like we could or the organizers could mine a little more, and I think they're starting to come around. Is that LA has a ton of people. We have a ton of density. We also have a ton of money, right? And I
you
don't
have
want to
so
speak.
much
I
money.
don't want to speak for every poker player, right? There's so much still in those. We love these $400, $500 tournaments, but I feel like these 1Ks, like the Gardens that just did pretty well. We'll see what happens with the Commerce one that has that $1 million guarantee. We
Yeah,
need to come out for these. I feel like there are more people here that will play those slightly. I think the slightly higher buy-in tournaments. Because one of the examples you wanted to bring up here is this lodge, right? The $200 mini monster
yeah,
buy-in from the lodge.
yeah. Look at this one, $200 buy-in for a 841K prize pool, right? Poker is illegal in Texas. Does everyone understand this? Like these casinos are illegal in Texas. They could only have like these clubs where you have to pay like a subscription or something or some sort of monthly fee or some sort of like table fee, right? So technically, a lot of players are probably afraid to play poker in Texas, and they're pulling these kind of numbers, right? It just, yeah, we really have to and we got a whole bunch of stuff in chat going on here too, so let's go check it out.
Yeah.
Stone Malik not happy about Vegas pros. Like I'm actually happy that there are less Vegas pros and the games are softer, but it's not great for our growth. Obviously, I think I know you're just like kind of half joking around about that, but like it's not great for our growth that there aren't people like from Vegas traveling here to play, because that used to be all the time before COVID, right? LAPC was packed, right, with like Vegas pros and people coming from all over to play. Bike missed their guarantee and took it away for a tournament a little over a year ago. Yeah, although the bike themselves are probably the highest guarantees out of all the card rooms right now. So we have no Bazin. LA Casinos making more money off Cal games. So yeah, so execs are not giving poker tournament organizers room to make decent guarantees. Yeah, we've been talking about there for a while where it's tough.
But every casino has that issue, right? And the ones we're talking about have it even more extreme, because I'm sure that in Biloxi they have slot machines, right? So it's not really an excuse for us, right?
Yeah, yeah. Adam Kipnis, buddy Adam, Bike would love to get rid of poker completely. I feel like a lot of people keep kind of mentioning that. You've even mentioned with some of the very subtle things that Park West is doing, it doesn't look great. But for now, I'm just going to take it at face value. Most like poker's back. I'm giving you millions of dollars guarantee, so I'm just going to take that at face value and hope that we keep going. But
so the point, the point I was going to bring up, or what I think is worth exploring, is that here in LA. So in Austin here at the lodge, they did this $200 buy-in tournament. They had people coming down, hanging out, firing 4 average bullets. Someone fired 32 bullets. I feel like here in LA, we would rather fire fewer big bullets, but even if they're big bullets, we're still going to have people firing. I mean, we had people at the Gardens firing 12, 15 bullets in that 1K, right? So, and this is kind of how, like you said, it's more expensive to do business here. Well, then, casinos who, like the Bike or whoever, if you're so concerned, it's so expensive, I'm only making $60 a head in this $300 tournament, then don't run the $300 tournament. Run a 1K, take $100 a head. Run a $1,500, take $120 a head, whatever.
They seem very married to these lower buy-in one-day tournaments too. I kind of don't get it.
Up the buy-ins, up the experience, up the guarantees. I'm pretty sure people will pay. Run satellites if you have to, or find some other way to run satellite. I'm pretty sure these guys that are firing 12, 13 bullets into the 1Ks will still play these other events. Stone Malik, he says he'll play. He wants to play some 3.5Ks. Let's go. Like, if you don't, you're making your money per person. Just make more money per person. Up everything. Don't make that your daily tournament, but you have a series going. Just give it a shot, you don't have WPT, still run a 3,500.
Look at the World Series, right? They are constantly running these huge tournaments, but running dailies all the time whenever they have room, and that's completely separate from the World Series. But we're mixing the dailies. We're actually having dailies replace the big events on the weekends, and it's really ridiculous, right? And I totally get all the headwinds that the people are kind of facing in terms of the card rooms here, but right now, we are in the middle of a poker boom. We are definitely on an uptick in terms of the guarantees and the attendance that we have in our tournament, which is great for LA. But I do feel like, to be honest, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard when you look at how big our population is and how much expendable income we have, right, compared to other places. And people all over are blowing it out of the park.
Yeah. Yep. And Xander, I mean, I hope someone does that sort of stuff too. Bring the ring events back, bring the WPTs back. But even without that, Derek's saying, even without that, let's find ways to make it exciting.
Yeah. Yep. Like the WSOP, WPT obviously would bring a lot back. But when you look at these things that are happening at the lodge, that are happening in Mississippi, they're not WSOP and WPT, and they're completely blowing it out of the water, right? They're these are standalone events. And then, Ty, go pull back up the standalone things from GPI, right? Look at this, like Irish Poker Open, Malta Poker Festival, right? Seminole Hard Rock, which is in Florida. So even like Southern Florida has a population of 9 million, right? It's peanuts compared to Southern California, right? But everyone travels to that Seminole to go play that tournament, right? Ireland, $5 million population. Malta has 500K people, right? And these are the ones that are the best standalone festival series. Obviously, the win, doesn't count. It's Vegas, but what's happening in LA? Like, why isn't LAPC there? Why isn't Legends there?
And LA is a destination, so it's not like we have a crap destination. I mean, we have Malibu, we got Hollywood.
Freaking Los Angeles.
We are a tourist destination, so it's not like we're lacking in that department,
Yeah.
Welcome, Frank. Congrats on the 9th place. We've already covered that.
Yeah.
Way to go, man.
Frank. Yeah.
All right. So I think, those are a couple suggestions. My suggestion was the most straightforward one I can think of that I think might have a chance, that might entice the the operators. If you got other ideas, let's put them up in Twitter. Let us know. Let's get those ideas out there. We'll hopefully, like I said, we're gonna hopefully have DJ on in a week, if not next week after that. Let's hit him with some ideas. Let's see what he has in store for the future. See what he's thinking about. Try and help these guys help us, right?
Yeah, I would love to get DJ on and kind of talk about whatever you can talk about. I know again I'm definitely not blaming the tournament directors, but I think they are very player focused. They're always trying to do the best for us. Me and Ty may not always agree with the schedules, but those are kind of minor nits. And sometimes I feel like so a lot of these TDs like DJ are probably trying to handle 50 different requests from like management and from players, and maybe 5 players are saying 5 different things to him. So he's trying to balance what he needs to balance. But overall, I think just from a macro level, it seems like all of Southern California, Los Angeles in general, is kind of falling behind the rest of the country.
Yeah, we've kind of gotten complacent, perhaps. All right, let's move on before Derek really tells everyone what he thinks. I think we got him all fired up here. I don't know, you guys, this might be the most fired up I've seen Derek.
So, I really care about poker, obviously.
Yep, absolutely. I think we all do. That's why we're here. So let's move on. Speaking of, let's get fired up about what are we going to play this weekend. Let's go through the roundup. So it is roundup time. This weekend, as always, we will start with the LAPC. So this weekend, the large events continuing on is that bounty multiplier we talked about. So they have flights of this thing going on all afternoon for the rest of the week. Friday, there are 2 flights. Saturday, there are 2 flights. Day 2 on Sunday. Sunday, they have a one-day event going on. Their typical 50K guarantee one day. So, and then there's also, I think, a one-day evening event, just like what happened last Saturday. So those are all happening this weekend at Commerce.
Get out here and play this one. That 500K one, I think, is definitely going to beat the guarantee. Day 2 looks already pretty stacked, but I think that everyone's going to be playing pretty crazy going after those bounties. So this is going to be a super fun day 2. If you end up at a table full of crushers, you're going to learn a lot from them. But I think overall, there's going to be a big prize pool, a shot for you to make some really, really big money. But then it's going to be a very, very fun day 2.
Yeah, so they need to get to 1,000 entries to hit the guarantee. They had 109 people, I believe, on the first day one, 111 on the second, and I believe they had about 135 or so tonight. So they're doing well for these weekday kind of flights.
I'm gonna put the over under at 550 for Saturday.
On Saturday itself? Combined.
I don't know how. Combined. Okay. I don't know how much more evidence these casinos need to do Saturday day 1s, day 2 on Sundays, but they're going to absolutely blow it away on Saturday. It's going to be insane in there.
Yeah, I reserve the number that I would guess until I know if I'm going to bag on Friday and be coming back on Saturday, but yeah.
If you come back on Saturday, I'll put it at 600.
Exactly, yeah. No, so my only concern is that this is a kind of still an experimental format. He has run it last year, and I think it was successful. I think people enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I got third, and then I think he may have run it one more time, but I don't think this is a well-known format. So that's my only concern. But so far, the numbers look good. I think that getting 130 people on Tuesday night is a really good sign, and having 4 flights on the weekends. There's no concern about this guarantee. It's gonna crush.
Even with a format which is a little bit like unique, just slapping the 500K guarantee up there is gonna get people out.
Yeah, it's gonna crush. And once people realize that if you like mystery bounties, you might as well play this because it's guaranteed big bounty every one. So just go for it.
Yep.
So absolutely. So then after that tournament, before our next show, the 40-40 will be kicking off. So the 40-40 is 40,000 starting chips, 40-minute levels. It's a $600 buy-in with a 400K guarantee. So
nice.
No bounties, but the guarantee is 400K. And there are, let's see, it looks like there are 2 fewer flights in this because the bounty multiplier had a Sunday flight and an additional Saturday flight. But this also has a Sunday day 2, starts at 11 a.m. And it has, this is really weird. On Friday, it has 2 flights with the afternoon being turbo, which we kind of mentioned, and they do that for the 40-40 because it's long. But then Saturday does not have a turbo evening flight. So I'm confused. Why not have a 4 o'clock turbo? Maybe we'll get to ask DJ next week. Anyways, that will be the next big multi-day event, and I think this one's going to really
That's going to be a big
Yeah,
one.
I
Yeah.
think this is really going to take off. This is just your standard event,
Yeah.
nice 40-minute levels, easy to understand, lots of flights. I think this one's going to be
Yeah.
huge.
So happy. Day one Saturday, day two Sunday. Every time I see that, I'm so happy.
Yep, that one's going to be massive. So if you don't want to play in those, there are of course the regular dailies happening around town at the gardens. Like we said, still building points for the 50K free roll. Smaller buy-ins over there at Lucky Lady. And if you are a PLO player, on Saturday the 27th, there is a 30K guarantee PLO tournament happening over at Hollywood Park. So hop on over there. Looks like an add-on tournament, which is strange. 300 plus 200 happening at Hollywood Park at 1 p.m. 30K guarantee, 1 day
30K
PLO.
is nice.
Yeah.
PLO too. Yeah. I mean, PLO's making a resurgence right now. So you love PLO.
Yep.
Looks like you got a good event there.
Yeah, so PLO players, check it out down at Hollywood Park. I think that is it. That is what we'll do. Like I said, hopefully I come down to Commerce if you are a Hold'em player, if you got the time for those multi-days. Best one day will be on Sunday. If you're a PLO player, hit Hollywood Park. Other than that, it's just your regulars.
Yeah, I mean, lots of exciting stuff still happening. Obviously, I think we're lucky, right, to have the tournaments that we're having. So just because I'm trying to hold us to a higher standard because we are Los Angeles, when you look at, how much share of poker we should be grabbing maybe relative to the rest of the country and making ourselves actually a destination that people want to travel to, I feel like that's what we should be striving for and pushing for as a community. But even with that, obviously the LAPC schedule this year is unbelievable, right, with its guarantee. So super excited about it.
Yep, absolutely. Can't wait to get back out there, all healthy, ready to put in a full weekend. Looking forward to it. All right, guys. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank everyone.
Once again, if you are watching and you are not a subscriber, please hit the button, hit subscribe, hit like, hit notify. It really means a lot to us. We are this close to getting to 200, trying to hit that 200 milestone, trying to get up to 300. We can't do it without you. We love hearing about you guys listening to the show. We love hearing your feedback. Love hearing about what you like, what you don't like when we're out there. Maybe on breaks, but we love hearing and seeing all you out there. So keep it up. Please hit subscribe, and until next time, we will see you at the tables.
See you at the tables, everyone.